time to be fun. This is a great time, okay? So enjoy the next part of this. We're going to do this in sequence. And the first oath that is to be given is by the Honorable Judge Carmen Olney. Will administer the oath of office to Councilmember Regina Romero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to invite my husband, Ruben Reyes, my two kids, Emiliano and Luciana, and my parents, if they're here, Jose and Josefina Romero. She wants to be in the mic.
So good morning to all of you. Buenos días, and congratulations on your election. See, they're getting their civic lessons already.
Yes.
Prepare for the next generation. So it is now my duty and my honor Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Regina Romero, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona
and the ordinances, resolutions, and rules and regulations
of
the city of Tucson, Arizona. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of
the office of Council Member Ward 1
of the office of Council Member Ward 1
of the city of Tucson, Arizona, according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's enough.
I, Paul Cunningham,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
the ordinance, resolutions, and rules
the ordinance, resolution, and rules,
and regulations of the city of Tucson, Arizona.
and the regulations of the city of Tucson, Arizona,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of Council Member Ward 2
of Council Member Ward 2
of the city of Tucson, Arizona,
of the city of Tucson, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Now my privilege to introduce Judge Karen Levitt to administer the oath of office to Councilmember Shirley Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are very few times when my whole family is together and they've taken the kids out of school, which I know they're sorry about, but they're all here together, and it's my privilege to ask all of them, including my wonderful husband, Joe, to please join me.
so proud. 6. They all look like somebody else, so it's all right.
I state your name.
I, Shirley Scott,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the ordinances,
and the ordinances,
resolutions,
resolutions,
and rules,
and
and
rules,
regulations of the city of Tucson,
and
Arizona,
regulations of the city of Tucson, Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
discharge
the duties of office of
Council Member Ward 4
Council Member Ward 4
of the City of Tucson,
Arizona,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Honorable Stanley Feldman, who will administer the oath of office, Mayor-elect Jonathan Rothschild.
From Carrillo Elementary, right? No. Davis by name.
Well, before you become, don't get ahead. Before you become Mr. Mayor, let me address you for the last time, maybe not the last time, Mr. Jonathan. I've known your folks since before you were born, I think, and I've known you since you were born, and did not ever think of whether a day like this would come, but I'm very glad it has. Glad you decided to give up the lucrative practice of law and take this a well-paying job. Just this morning, your mother said it's all my fault. If so, I accept the blame. So, would you raise your right hand, please? I, and state your name,
I, Jonathan Rothschild,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the ordinances and resolutions,
and the ordinances and resolutions,
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
of the city of Tucson,
of the city of Tucson,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of mayor
discharge the duties of the office of mayor
of the city of Tucson,
of the city of Tucson,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Jonathan, you could have taken my kids up there too, you know.
I want to tell you one sort of a poignant thing. I don't know if you all know this, but Jonathan practiced law with his father and with his son. They had 3 generations of lawyers there, and now politicians, sort of the Jewish Udalls. I also want to make a correction. There was an article in the Star that described Jonathan as a dull guy. I was quoted, in fact, as saying that Jonathan was a dull guy. That is not what I said. What I told them is, if you see 2 guys walking down the street and one looks really bored, the other is Jonathan. And I'm tired of it. I was out in the foyer today and a woman said to me, Jonathan Rothschild doesn't know the meaning of the word charisma. And I say, so what? Jonathan doesn't know the meaning of a lot of words. But we didn't elect him because of his charisma. We elected him because he cares. He will give a voice to those who have no voice in our government today. The poor, the homeless, Steve Kozachik. A lot of us thought that Jonathan was a shoo-in way before the election. We thought, my gosh, there's not a lot of competition. At one point, there was not even a Republican candidate. We thought he was a shoo-in. And I went to Karen, Jonathan's wife, and I said, Karen, this is months before, I said, did Jonathan ever, in the months leading up to the election, feel like he had it in the bag, it was no contest? And she looked me in the eye and said, Elliot, at no point during the campaign did Jonathan suffer from premature inauguration. Well, maybe once. We have a tough role coming ahead for our mayor and council. I don't envy them. They have to deal with the elephants at Reed Park. They have to deal with all sorts of issues. I saw Bert Lopez. Bert, are you here? I saw you here. Bert has a table. Where are you, Bert? There's Bert. Humberto Lopez, one of my heroes. Bert Lopez, a rags to riches story, but he's got an issue now before the council. I'm glad I'm not having to vote on it. He wants some tax breaks for the Hotel Arizona. And the Hotel Arizona has 9 stories, and I don't know which one is true. But something has to be done. Something has to be done so it can measure up to the standards of the Tucson Community Center. Because right now, I walked through there last week. Many of the rooms are closed. It's boarded up. Look creepier than a commercial for good old Tom. All right, let me say something from the heart. First I want to give a shout out to this table over here. These are Jonathan's biggest supporters. They're the poker boys. They are, for 29 years, men who gave Jonathan enough money so that he could run. Somebody asked, some of the poker boys were asked, why is Jonathan running for mayor? Why did he decide to quit a successful law practice and run? And it really wasn't a decision that Jonathan made. It was really sort of the natural progression from a guy who cares so much about Tucson, and for as long as we've known him, has done everything he can to make the community better. Whether he's working for the hand makers, helping the aged, whether he's working for Casa de los Niños, for children, whether he's giving out food and handing out food in the mornings at Casa Maria for the homeless, Jonathan has always been involved in helping our community and making it a better place. So running for mayor just became a more efficient, better way for him to be able to do that. Thank you, Jonathan. At this time, I want to bring up the 3 members of the council who are newly elected, and they do have some difficult tasks in front of them, and I admire each and every one of them for their willingness to be on the city council and to serve in these difficult times, these times of transition. From Ward 1, now serving her 2nd term, a woman with roots in the community who cares about her ward, would you please welcome and give a warm round of applause for your Ward 1 councilperson, Regina Romero.
Jonathan, I don't think it's us. I'd like to thank my first and foremost, I'm going to give a little bit of a campaign speech, but I'm going to make it really short and sweet. First and foremost, my partner, my husband that has been with me thick and thin, and is a wonderful dad, Ruben Reyes. Thank you so much, husband. My children that some of you got to see at the inauguration, that Luciana and Emiliano. Luciana was fighting me for the mic, but we give her about 15 years so she can become her own leader in this community. She is the boss of the family. And of course, my parents, Jose and Josefina Romero, that really have given me all of their support, their love, and mami, papi, muchas gracias por todo lo que han hecho por mí. Los valores que ustedes me han enseñado, los estoy usando en este trabajo. Honestidad, el trabajo duro, y ver a las gentes, a cada persona, con amor y respeto. And for those of you that are bilingually challenged, I was just telling mom and dad, thank you for being such wonderful parents, and that the values they've taught me growing up, of respect, integrity, hard work, and seeing everyone with respect, I am using it in my position on the council. Also, I'd like to thank my campaign staff, Susan Marshall, my treasurer, Dorothea Jovu, my campaign manager, Luke Knight, my communications guy, my Ward 1 staff, Matt, Diana, Vera, Amy, Laura. They give more than 100% of themselves to the community, and I thank them for their hard work. Yes, they deserve it. My campaign committee, my chair, Dan Ekstrom. Thank you so much, Dan, for believing in me and working so hard to get me elected. Tom Moore, Linda Mason Gutierrez, and Lillian Lopez Brandt for being my advisory board and helping. I just want to reiterate what I said in the campaign trail. You know, in the campaign trail, I talked about what I talked about in 2007. And now I will talk about what I plan to do as a representative of Ward 1 on the council. I want to make sure that our priorities are very well focused. First and foremost, fully investing in police and fire departments, very important. Making sure that we're investing in parks, in our children, in parks and recreation, kidco, transit and transportation are very important for our economy, and we must continue investing there. Economic development and job creation. The mayor and council have been working very hard to make sure that we bring policy and regulation to the mayor and council, to city policies that will put us in a place that will help create jobs, that will help attract and retain and expand those jobs that are already here. Our partnerships, because we, as the city of Tucson, we can't do it alone, so we have partnerships in the community. Partnering with the University of Arizona, making sure that we're recognizing what Raytheon brings to our city, making sure that our educational institutions are well funded, working to invest in the future, in our children, and taking care of seniors in our community is equally important. We have passed on the mayor and council development deferrals, protected development rights. We're working on the land use code. We're making sure that we are passing policy, global economic development district, an economic recovery plan for Tucson's future. All of the things that we've worked on, we're going to continue working on. I'd like to welcome our mayor, Jonathan Rothschild. I think we're going to have a very good future moving ahead. I know it's going to be hard work, but I know you're up to it, Jonathan, and you have a council that is willing and wanting to move ahead. And I'm looking forward to working with you on the council. Let's remember a little bit. Let's remember that right here under this stage, under the TCC, under this concrete is where the city of Tucson first got its start. We live in a city that is historic and rich in culture, and what the founding members of this community wanted to see was a prosperous city. Was a city as prosperous in its economy as it is in its environment, and rich in its economy as it is in its history and culture. And that's what we're going to do to move Tucson forward. I'm willing to give 150% of myself to serve this community. I'm proud to represent the people of Ward 1 and the city of Tucson. I thank you all for being here. Looking forward to another 4 years, and I'm looking forward to moving Tucson forward. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias, and have a wonderful lunch. Enjoy Calexico.
By the way, I did not introduce one dignitary with our songman. Stand up for a second. Stand up. Stand up. From the Dallas Cowboys, defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. Thank you. Thank you. It's great that you can be here. Also, I screwed up. I did that out of order. I was supposed to introduce another council member first, so let me correct that and introduce him now. He was appointed to complete the term for now U.S. Senator Rodney Glassman. Oh yeah, wait a minute, that didn't work out though. He has vowed to not quit in the middle of his elected term. He is an elected representative, he is a member of our military, he is the elected representative, first time in his elected capacity. Please welcome Paul Cunningham.
How's everybody doing this morning or afternoon? Good afternoon. Hello, Tucson. Tucson, home of the University of Arizona Wildcats. Tucson, the gateway to the Southwest. This is my home. I love it here very much. Our city has the opportunity to usher in an era that has been kind of set up by the leadership of our former Mayor Bob Walker. He's put the ball on the tee. And now, our new mayor, Jonathan Rothschild, with the help of this new council, is going to walk up there with his driver and tattoo it 345 yards on the green. First of all, on the election, I want to thank my bride, Erica. She's here. She's not a big political person, but she is my partner, my best friend. Last night, she's just, you'll very rarely see me without words. When I talk about it. And then to my mom and my dad and my grandmother, Judge Logan Fisher, who was here, I just want to thank you so much. To put things in perspective. Oh yeah, go ahead, give them a round of applause. So, Tucson has this issue that's emerged in the past few months. There's a group of people staying in the park. I'm not sure if you heard about it, not a lot of people know. There's a few people staying in the park right now. And the former mayor, George Miller, called me up and asked me if he could go visit me with me. So George and I went down and visited folks in the park. And on the way down, we talked about my grandfather and George Miller and Gabby's father, Spencer Gibbons, and how they used to all play racquetball. And it seems that now this responsibility is resting on us. What we have in front of us in this next year is so important. We have a building at One South Church that we need to get built. We have a TCC that we need to make a decision about. We have a transit system that we're putting in. We need to find ways to augment it so it's ready to be at the top caliber. We have a new city manager or a continued city manager, depending on how the hiring process goes. We have so many issues in front of us, it's time to get to work. So hopefully, we'll all communicate together, we'll all work together, we'll all make this Tucson's Renaissance, we'll make this Tucson's decade. I have faith in all of us to be able to do it. Thank you and God bless you all.
Finally, I'd like to bring out a councilwoman who has served for 12 years and who will at the end of this term equal the longest serving councilperson I think we've ever had. Shirley Scott was in a close race. I haven't seen anything that tight since I saw a mayor walk up in his bike shorts. This was a razor's edge race. And by the way, Shirley, I do have a tip for you. If you get an endorsement from the Star when they ask to interview you, don't show up. Would you please welcome from Ward 4, our longest serving current council member, the newly elected Shirley Scott.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. I'm very proud and honored to be before you today as the 16-year longest serving woman on the City Council of the City of Tucson. There are some, including members of my family, who think it's a genetic flaw that I would continue, but I can persevere in spite. But I have many, many people to thank for this honor, for the ability to serve this community again. I first want to thank my family, who is here today, for standing by me and supporting me from the very beginning of this journey into public service, which began back last century, thank you very much, 1995. It's not always easy to watch your mom, grandma, your spouse go through an election, and it can be all the more difficult after having to share her time and her call to service after so many years. For that, I thank my family, and especially my husband, Joe Scott. I have to say that when I first started to run, my husband had been so active in the community for 20 years that when someone named Scott took papers out to run for council, they all got very excited and said, "Oh, Joe Scott, that's great. I'm so, wait, who the heck is Shirley?" So I wanted you to know that he was very active in the community and has stood by me below these many 16 years. I also want to thank my campaign staff. I want to thank Larry Hecker, who's here today, who was my chair. And the countless volunteers, the community leaders from both sides of the political spectrum who made the choice to support me, help me get out the message to the citizens of Tucson. Solutions over politics was not just my campaign slogan. It's always been my mantra for how I have done and will continue to do my work for this community. I thank you for your creativity, all those volunteers who spent so many hours. I thank you for your creativity, your faith, and hard work to help me return to service for this city. Most importantly, I want to thank the voters of our city who took the time to fill out the mail-in ballot and cast their vote in near record numbers, making the choice to allow me to serve Tucson again for another 4 years. I'm deeply honored, and I will work diligently to improve our community for you, your children, and your grandchildren. We have a great opportunity in Tucson, despite the challenges that have beset our community for the past several years. In Ward 4, that opportunity presents itself most clearly in the open land already zoned for large-scale industrial and commercial uses. That positions the ward to become one of the largest economic engines in the city for the future. With private and public sector partners like the U of A Science and Tech Park, Century Park, Port of Tucson, Pima County, the Regional Transportation Authority, and TRIO working together, we can make sure that right now, and as the economy recovers, Ward 4 will be and can be a major job center and a massive tax base for the entire community. That base will help to restore and enhance our public safety personnel and services, our parks, and our roadways. I plan on working tirelessly with my staff, Renee, Andy, and Lonnie, 2.5 people, our new mayor, and my fellow council members, and our dedicated city staff over the next 4 years to move Tucson into a positive economic place. And I pledge to support my colleagues as they work to do the same in their wards. Working together, we can and we will improve our community so that our children and grandchildren will have a reason to choose to stay here, to work, and raise their families. Thank you for this honor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Waka, for being such a great person and a leader. And I'm looking forward, Mr. Rothschild, for a wonderful next 4 years. You bring a lot of energy and a lot of great things to our community. Thank you so much.
Well, now's the time I get to introduce the new mayor. I do want to remind you again, we are doing donations to the food bank. Everybody's got an envelope on their table. Pima County Democratic Party is matching the first $1,000. This is a real time of need for our food banks. If everybody, there's this great unity in this room. Everybody's got this great spirit. We're all together. I mean, everybody ordered salmon. I mean, it's just sort of the, It was a chicken? I didn't get to eat it. It looked like salmon from here. Thank you, David. Please remember that. Also, I want to tell you, Jonathan, we said, Jonathan, normally we start the presentation at dessert. We have everybody's attention then. They're done eating. No one's clearing tables. Everybody goes, no. We got to move this along because I want people to listen and enjoy Calexico. They're a treasure, and people have to really enjoy them. So I don't mind if people are eating while things are going on. I want them to still have time to hear Calexico perform because a lot of people in this town don't know about him, and they ought to. This is a local treasure for us. And so let me just bring on Jonathan for a minute. First of all, no one is going to work harder in any job ever than Jonathan, and that's just a fact. I mean, he brings an energy, he brings an enthusiasm, he wants us to be a town where our kids can grow up and stay here with jobs, he wants partnerships between businesses and schools so we have an educated workforce for businesses to come here. He loves this city, he's got ideas, he's got a vision, he's smart as hell. Please welcome our new mayor, Jonathan Rothschild.
I know why you were all standing. You found someone who would actually take this job. But I'd like to take a moment to talk about why we're really here today. And I believe we're really here gathered with our collective hopes, our collective dreams, even our shared fears. But think of what this group, this room, can do, unified, around a common land that we all love and know as Tucson. And remember, if you take nothing else from my remarks here today, that it is human collaboration that is the central truth behind a society's success. And it's the primary reason cities exist. It's a simple fact. Human collaboration makes for successful cities. Now, I have a confession to make. Since November 9th, I felt a lot like the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. I've been running around, I'm late for an important date. I'm not quite sure where I'm headed. And that could be because Tucson is the 32nd largest city in the United States. In population, city-wise, it is the size of Denver, it is the size of San Francisco. Region-wise, a little different, but city-wise, 32nd in the United States. So I know what needs to be done, I cannot do alone. And I cannot do it with a staff of 5, and I cannot even do it with a great city staff. It is going to take all of you in this room throwing in. Because each of us does have the ability to change our city and leave it a little better than we have found it. And I think that really is the mayor's job, and Mayor Walkup and I have talked about this, to capture and harness the energy of the moment we just felt, that moment when we all rose as one with our collective hopes and dreams, and bring that together for a common purpose. 14 months ago, I went out like the guy with the lamb and was searching for our commonality. And I spoke with a lot of people. I'm sure I spoke to a lot of people in this room. And I found that across political party, ethnicity, gender, economic differences, that there really is a commonality. And I don't think it's a commonality just to Tucson. I think it's something common to humanity. So that if you're in El Paso or El Salvador, if you're in Tucson or Tehran or Tel Aviv, As humans, we all want the same thing. First, everybody wants a job that gives dignity. And that's why public policy needs to help create jobs and attract business. In Tucson, we really need to emphasize workforce development. Second, everybody wants to live in a safe community. So as public officials, we need to assure that we have adequate and efficient police and fire services. Third, we all want a place where our children and our grandchildren will get the education they need to allow them to compete in this next generation. So we are going to fight at every level for science, technology, engineering, and math curriculums with a strong dose of literature, history, and civics, and ethics. We are going to combine with our business partners. I've already been in communication with our new mayor of Phoenix, Greg Stanton. We're going to get the state's business leaders together, and we're going to go to the state legislature, and we are going to together tell them that cutting funds to education is not good for business, it is bad for business. And let's remember that education perpetuates itself as one smart generation teaches the next. Fourth, we have to remember that this valley's strength, mountain to mountain, and when I was a little kid sitting in bed at night trying to learn the directions of the compass, to the north the Catalinas, to the south the Santa Ritas, to the east the Rincons, to the west the Tucsons, has always been our clean air, our clean water, and our beautiful open space. Without clean air and clean water, there's no attractiveness to our valley. There are no jobs, and there's no community. We are always going to fight to conserve what allows us to breathe, our water, and what allows us to thrive, our water. And that's a pledge for me with regard to our environment. And finally, we want a community that values our history, our culture, our diversity, our arts. A healthy and clean community that develops bike boulevards, pedestrian access, plants proper vegetation, and cleans up our gateways and makes our streets presentable. In sum, we want a place that our children and all of us can stay and want to stay. Now, what is the methodology for getting there? I'm going to tell you something else I learned in the past 14 months. You need to walk a city's streets and listen to people in their living rooms to see a city's soul. We are a city that was originally designed around neighborhoods, with neighborhood parks and neighborhood schools. It was a great design. But we are also a city of youth who are unemployed, a city where single moms are working 2 jobs, and a city with many who are underemployed. We are a city of mixed neighborhoods where you can walk into any neighborhood, and I've walked into all of them now, and see the most finely manicured, well-kept house next to one that has been abandoned or foreclosed. I learned this from walking our city streets for the last 14 months. But most of all, what I learned was I found a city of people ready for action, who love this city and want to make it a great place. And that is why we have come up from you, from our citizens, with our 180-day plan to put a business advocate in the mayor's office, to revise the land use code, to streamline development services, to pass the Tucson Business First initiative. We will create neighborhood business districts, pass an open government initiative, and develop walkways, bikeways, and greenways, and create mechanisms for affordable solar residential applications. But most importantly, as we go, we are going to communicate. We are going to communicate what we accomplished. We are going to communicate where we are at. And if we can't get it done, we're going to communicate why not. This plan did not come from whole cloth. It came from the community, and I need your help to get it done. So I will be calling on each of you, and a number of you have already called on me. But I'm asking each of you to answer the call, because after 180 days, we're going to be rolling out next year's goals. And it's in my makeup, it's in my DNA that when we set a goal, we accomplish it. But I can't do it without your input and your help. So please remember, this, when you sign on, that there's a virtue in politics, and it's a virtue of compromise, it's a virtue of willingness and patience to listen to both sides. It's a willingness to settle for less than one might initially wish for. And that's far different than what we all do when we give our opinions with such certainty. So that's the arena I'm asking you all to enter. Which really brings me to the why. And it's no longer a question which I had to listen to for 14 months. Why do you want to be mayor? I've got the job. But I'll tell you what I think the answer is for all mayors, not just for me. It is to involve and organize a community behind a common purpose. And in this community, our purpose is to keep our families together and to thrive. And so please, when I call, remember, we are put on this earth to make a difference, to mend the fractures of the world, a day at a time and an act at a time. And I assure you, from my experience, when you spend time in the service of others, you gain more than you give. You don't ask for thanks, you want to thank. And I want you to consider, as I ask you all into this mission, to consider how a small act can change the way another person feels. And this mayor thing, I don't totally get it, but a smile, a pleasant comment, an affectionate touch, it can really affect people. But then think how if you uplift another person, how that act of caring in turn will make that person act when they meet whoever they're going to meet next. So that is my inauguration call to you. Help us get it done. Together, we can get it done. Before I close, I want to say a word about the colleagues I'm about to join on the City Council. And I'm very happy and willing to join them in all the grief that they normally take. I've learned, first of all, each of them over the last year has generously given of their time to me so I can be ready for this job, and that's all 6 of them. And I've learned that each of them works extraordinarily hard, at great personal sacrifice, with little credit, to make Tucson a better place. And so I really do look forward to working with each of you very much. And to Mayor Walker, there's a reason we value decency and kindness in this world. And there's a reason we value tact and restraint in politics. And if I'm able to keep Mayor Walkup's unfailing optimism and genuine compassion and sense of humor in the face of the tasks that lie ahead, I will come out a better man. And Mayor, I want to thank you for your 12 years. Staff is here, and I want to thank them. But for today's event, I want to thank Adam Kinsey and Jeff Rogers and Shasta McManus. Elliot already said it. to our great county recorder, F.Ann Rodriguez. Don't mess with her, okay? For putting this event together. I want to thank Calexico for letting me speak here today. And of course, my lovely bride, Karen, for letting me speak here today. I'm going to close with an old Eastern European Hasidic fable, because despite everything else, that's where I come from. It was said back in the Middle Ages that there were 36, and that there are 36 hidden righteous people in the world at any one time. And they've been put in this world to make the world work. And not only are they hidden from us, but they're really hidden from themselves. And we're only given one clue. They're not among the rich, they are not among the famous, they are not among the most powerful. So in those days, they may have been the local woodcutter, or the horse driver, or the illiterate praying in the back of a house of worship. But they are always at work in the world, and they're always at work even today. So even though those 36 people do not know who they are, I am convinced that they are here with us today, that in each of you is their spirit. And I call for you to look in your spirit and find that spirit of the righteous 36. We know we have challenges ahead. We need your help. The city needs your help. The community as a whole needs your help. You need to bring only 3 qualities to my office. 1, your authenticity. 2, your love for Tucson. And 3, your willingness to work cooperatively. I look forward to the work ahead. I look forward to working with each of you. Thank you very much for being here.
Let's hear it for the trumpets. Come on, folks. We're going to do a song now that's called Inspiración, and I think it says a lot about where things are going these days here locally in Tucson. One of my favorite phrases is think globally and act locally. And that's something I'm walking away with today here from hearing some of the people talk, seeing what we can do to make this place better. Here's Jacob Valenzuela. Give him a warm welcome.
Thank you very much.
Y tú, mi amigo, me inspiras mis pasos. Me voy por el mundo conociendo varias gente, pero nunca hay una persona como tú. Y estoy aquí. Si pudieras mirarme, ¿qué pensarás de mí? Pero hoy es muy tarde para decirte que soy cambiado. Me duele que ya no estás aquí. Para decirte que soy cambiado. Ya es muy tarde para decirte que soy cambiado. mírame, ya estoy aquí. Si pudieras mirarme, ¿qué pensarás de mí? Pero hoy es muy tarde para decirte que soy cambiado. Me duele que ya no estás aquí. Me duele que ya no estás aquí.
Thank you. Gracias. Thank you all so much. You guys doing good? Congratulations, Tucson. And congratulations, everyone.